All right, so today we're going to be looking at setting your eyes like a flint. Isaiah chapter 50, verse 7. Now, I could approach this teaching in many ways, but because I have 30 minutes, I'm going to approach it in a very in a secular manner, not on religious or irreligious, but adapting it to a system of the world and how a Christian would cope. What do I mean by this? Sometimes you go to work, maybe during the week, you notice you have a boss that just hates you. You didn't do anything wrong. You're doing your duty. You are good at your job. But perhaps because there are plans, maybe somebody else maybe had a favorite somewhere that wanted to bring in to fill in your role. And so he was looking for an excuse to let go of you. And so if somebody is naturally lazy, this teaching is not for you. It is for those who are diligent in their ways, consistent, who have earned the right not to tolerate nonsense from any boss. I say this with all my chest, with my full chest. There are Christians that are lazy. There are Christians that are simply silly. And there are some Christians that are just empty-headed. So the only way they can keep their job is to become the spy of the boss, or to be the snitch of the office, or to be pandering to authority. They couldn't carry their weight at work, and as a result of that, they had to resort to other things. All of us here, we have worked in one capacity or the other before, so I think you can agree with me that there are Christians that are like that. If you are one of those ones, you better change. There is nothing for you in this kingdom. When you get to heaven, you will get broom. You'll be the one sweeping the streets. You will make it. But God does not honor those who behave like that. So this is for those diligent Christians, believers, hardworking people with focus, with a goal, who are working with God. And then you find yourself under the tyrannical rule of a boss who is determined to frustrate you, determined to make your life hell. So I felt I should do something so that some of us here will have an idea how to handle situations like that. A Christian is a special being. I'm not flattering you, but many of us just don't know that we are that special. When you're working with God and you're diligent at your work, the Bible promises that set a man diligent in his ways, that he will stand before kings and not mean men. Just so imagine that maybe you are working in any company, you are diligent at your work, consistent in your work with God, and then they brought in maybe an unbeliever or even a believer, it may even be a pastor as your boss, and then this person begins to say, oh, I want to sleep with you, or the person begins to talk to you anyhow, verbal abuse, all sorts of mental torture, and the person makes you feel like you are rubbish. Meanwhile, you know you are doing your job. In fact, sometimes you will have done a good job, and then the person will give the glory to somebody else. I've seen this several times. A lady came to me once explaining that I would do this job, and then when they want to give credit, the boss will deliberately give credit to another girl. Meanwhile, she was one that did the job, and then the other girl will take the credit on that. Every time she tries to protest, the man will say, you will leave for me in this office. You don't know, I will deal with you. When such a thing begins to happen, the Bible gives us examples of what to do. You will see an example in the book of Daniel, when people gathered together and they couldn't find fault in Daniel's work. Remember that I said at the beginning that this class is not for the lazy and indolent and those who are just lay-by Christians. I have no message for you. I'm not your pastor. You go and find a pastor that will preach to you. I'm preaching to those who are diligent, hardworking, faithful children of God. So I'm not my own in my own account. God do not say a lazy person. I do not encourage it. I don't like people who follow, who do not become what God says they should become in the course of fulfilling destiny. But for those who are working hard, who are doing the best they can, and they know that they should have been promoted by now, or somebody is standing in your way, or somebody has decided that I'm going to frustrate your life. I will finish it. It's me and you in this office. I will show you Pepe. Ladies and gentlemen, set your face like a flint. Don't even engage. Don't allow the person to get to you. I know you may think this is hard. It's not hard at all. We all do this daily. We ignore the devil all the time. In fact, we are very good at ignoring the devil. If you pay attention to the devil too much, you will not be alive now. 90% of the time, we ignore the devil. When we've ignored him so much, then he will not do something that we want to catch our attention. We will not refuse. We say, no, Oga, I'm not allowing you to. You are not taking my eyes away from my goal. I've come here to worship the King of Kings. My life is a relationship. It is not a relationship with money or with promotion or with no. My life is a relationship, a testament of relationship with God. Angels do not struggle to have all these things. Why am I struggling to have them? But the one thing angels do consistently is worship. The Bible says they lack nothing. Nothing. There is no economy in heaven that angels have to be struggling for. Everything they would ever need, they have. And everything I will ever need, I have it. So my eyes are set. I do not get distracted by those who say they want to pull me down. Biblically, everyone that has ever tried, ladies and gentlemen, imagine who went down. It wasn't the person they were trying to oppose. It was the person that was trying to oppose people that went down. Those who wanted to kill Daniel, they were the ones that got finished. And Daniel didn't do anything. But Daniel didn't report them to the king. And Daniel had influence. Daniel could have gone to the king, and the king trusted the judge, but Daniel could have said, dear king, I heard so and so had been snooping around. I heard that they are looking for an occasion against me. But can you call them to order? They are disturbing me. They are not allowing me to concentrate on my work. No, Daniel kept quiet. Daniel's eyes were set, so set that when they make the law that nobody should pray or worship anybody but the king, Daniel went to his house, opened his windows, lifted up his hands, and set his eyes towards Israel. And he began to pray. That was his crime. He was arrested for it. He was put in the lions den for it. So look at what will be going through Daniel's mind when he was arrested. Like soldiers will come in. You are praying. Come here. You are praying. Back, back, back. Slap him. Hey, why are you slapping me? Did you not hear the Lord that we should not pray? Why are you praying? You are under arrest, under the promulgation law of this and that. You are to be thrown into the lions den. What do you think will be going on in his mind? I mean, if you are doing, oh, going on, the enemy has gotten me. Oh my God, they've set me up. Finally, I've entered there. No, Daniel was still delighting in his God. He didn't raise up his voice to say, God, why did you leave me? No. He didn't react emotionally to all the hanky-panky. His eyes were on a goal, and the eyes were set. He knew that he had done nothing to deserve any form of nonsense. So if there is any occasion against him, maybe he'll be afraid. He said that they've searched for an excuse throughout his work, and they found him to be perfect. So he knew that when it comes to being diligent, being hardworking, paying his bills and paying his due and carrying his weight, that he couldn't find fault. So if anybody wakes up today and says, oh, I'm going to finish you, the person is going to finish himself. All you have to do is wait and let the person buy the kind of rope that that I'm not praying, I'm telling you what happens. I'm saying it. I can give you practical examples so that you know it's not just I'm not just quoting scripture at you. Of those who did not allow themselves to be distracted, who focused on their goal. Posts were shifted for them. I've shared with you before personally. I had the boss. I was a PA. It was APICP, assistant pastor in charge of province. That's what they called him. This man was wicked. Verbally, the way he would talk to you, One day I just said, God, move him. I'm not joking. I believe I learned a lot under him. I wouldn't pretend I didn't. It's a taskmaster, choleric, drives everybody crazy. But because I was so close to him, I took quite some punches. And one day we were in Ibadan for a retreat and he started again, and I was like, enough. I can't swallow this anymore. I just went to my room. I just went to my knees and I said, I don't want to see this man anymore. And immediately I said that, we got back to Lagos and I wrote my letter for my leave. I said, by the time I come back from my leave, you must move. And that man had been set to become the provincial pastor of the church where I was working. Every arrangement was made. Last minute, they moved him. He fought tooth and nail, spent a lot of money. They moved him. And I sat in the heaven with my God and I laughed. You know, both of us are Christians, so it's not a question of, this is not an enemy issue. You have wronged me. I have a right, I have vocation to talk to God about what I want. Many of us will remember the story of Mordecai and Haman. Again, Mordecai was a faithful, consistent man. He wasn't a lazy bum. He wasn't a thief. He wasn't stealing or cheating or embezzling money. There was no occasion against him. The only occasion was because, according to Jewish law, Jews do not bow to men. They will never do it. Remember the three Hebrews? They too said, we are not bowing. This guy said, I'm not bowing. This is not disrespect. We were wired to bow only to God. In the culture of Arabian, maybe some Media, maybe Persian, desert Arab culture, they've always had this servile attitude towards their leaders. You see them even in Nigeria, how they want to greet themselves. They would squat, they would bend, they would bow. That is not the way of the Christians. In Yoruba culture, people prostrate a lot and they greet, but that is Yoruba culture. In the culture of the church, we greet everybody standing. I kid you not. That is the right way. You know, even if it's Pope or Papa or Papal or Eminence or Bishop, I'm not joking. Angels do not bow to anyone, and we are greater than them. But because culture has come into it, and a lot of people, of course, you have to look at it and say, okay, we are balancing it. But when you stand, the Bible said to Joshua that no man will ever be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Whenever a Christian stands with his arms lifted, I tell you, it's a picture of heaven himself. And therefore, it shouldn't then allow the devil to take his eyes away from that which he was created to do, simply because somebody was making a lot of noise at work. There was a PA that I worked with once. Both of us were PAs. He was that kind of staff that all he does was to snitch. He believed that's how to keep his job. He didn't know the job very well. He didn't want to lose it. I understand his argument too, because they brought a boss to him that was quite computer savvy, and he was the old kind of PA that didn't really know much about systems and all that. So every time the man gives him an assignment, he wouldn't be able to deliver. So the man was like, I'm going to let you go. My table is full of your table is full of work. You cannot deliver. And he was trying to find a way to adapt so that he wouldn't lose his job. So he began to give the boss information. He became the eyes and ears of this boss. At that time, PSSBC started. So I began to teach at night. We had a prayer group also on Telegram at the time, intercessory prayer group. I was still working, but everything we were doing in ministry, I started picking up. And one day he joined, somebody sent him the link and he joined one of our prayer, whatever. And he saw the number of people there, he saw testimonies, he saw everything. Then he decided that, oh, he has gotten information. And so he went to the boss and he said, see, this guy, you shouldn't, he's idle. And if you see him, he will lead prayer. If he's working, will he not be tired? Will he be leading prayer in the night? Ministering, teaching online? Where does he get the time? If not because he's idle, you should give him more work. And then his boss called me and said, I heard you have a ministry online. I said, yes, sir. And then the boss said, who made you a pastor? Who made you a pastor? Which ministry? I've told them to move you here. It's because you are not busy. Of course, I knew where you got the information from. I started laughing. When I go back to my office, I said, Lord, what do I do? The Lord said, what are you doing in this office? Resign. That's why I resigned. Any other person will say, why would I resign? I will fight. I will fight. Let me tell you, the last time I saw this guy, he came to my house to beg me for his house rent. And I gave it to him with joy. Imagine that I didn't resign, that I stayed there thinking that I was fighting, and I was trying to fight for my rights. It was time for me to move on. I wasn't seeing it. And when this guy bought his, trouble, and I said, Lord, why should I take this nonsense? The Lord said, what is your business? You don't have any business here anymore. Resign and move on. I got to my office, I just wrote my resignation letter. I was 2 months away from clocking 5 years in that establishment. And because I was 2 months away from clocking, they didn't give me severance pay. They said, you didn't clock 5 years. There's no severance. There is nothing. I said, keep your severance. Keep your what have you. Ladies and gentlemen, every time I go to that office now, every time, I get the reception. When I was a PA, the kind of reception I used to give great men of God that come. That is the reason I get when I go there like this. So, sometimes I will go with siren blazing just to do oppressor. I'm not kidding. Just I just get there. When I get close, I put on that siren. You do and now come there, everybody will shout, and then I'll greet all of them. There is no month or maybe every 2 or 3 months that I visit that I will not buy all of them lunch. We'll share fellowship together. All of us are friends. But thank God for him that he pushed me so that I because at the time, I remember telling some of my friends at the group at the time that, should I resign? Should I not? Some advice, I don't resign yet. It is, like natural discussions that people would like, we are not sure of tomorrow. Why can't you be patient? What? Sometimes that somebody is on your case doesn't necessarily mean the person is your enemy. It may be that you have become so relaxed that you cannot see the open door that God has made for you, and God will not instigate somebody that, hey, push this boy towards the door. In the last 2 years, there is no staff in that office that has come to me to say, help me, that has gone home empty-handed. That is the reason why I bless God for him. When he was doing it, he thought he was doing evil, but God is infinitely smart. My eyes are set like a flint. I will not be ashamed. I will not be confounded. I have set my eyes. I know my goal. My goal is to please the Lord. I will not be distracted. I will not allow anybody to distract me. Joseph and his brothers. So we know how Joseph set his eyes. Diligent, hard-working guy. We know his story, so it's not new to us. But you will see that his eyes was on God all through the trouble. In fact, unlike Job that had a lot of lamentation, it was as if Joseph couldn't say one bad thing about God or complain. I like his attitude. He could have been complaining, composing song of sorrow, singing, no, he didn't do that. He didn't assume that God is not merciful towards him. Oftentimes I'll tell Christians that the Christians should be begging God for mercy, begging God for mercy. I'll say, if your child that you give birth to, your own child, needs something from you, your child now comes to your room And I said, Daddy, have mercy. Daddy, have mercy. Will you not be embarrassed? Will you not be? Like, I have children. I pay their fees. I feed them. I make sure they have the best of everything. I buy clothes for them. They've never had to beg me that, Daddy, have mercy. Our school fees, Daddy, have mercy. Our lunch, Daddy, have mercy. Our breakfast. It makes no sense that just that many of us do not see God the right way. And Jesus showed us the picture. Jesus said, you being evil, you being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children. And yet when you are relating with God, you always treat God as if God is deliberately being malicious and you have to be begging him. Those who began all that begging God for mercy up and down, those people are wicked. They may have done it out of ignorance, but they are still wicked. Because one of the basic things that I would dislike is that my own children will come to me begging me for mercy for anything that is their right, is my right to do to them. God had made everything before he made us, so that we can lack nothing. Is the one we are not saying, have mercy, Father, is your mercy I'm throwing myself at. No, set your eyes like a flint. It is you that shifted position. God did not shift position. You are the one that strayed. The scripture says when you strayed, you are afflicted. You are the one that strayed. Retrace your step. Lift up your holy hands. Worship. Love your God. Forget about people and distractions. I'm telling you, anyone that then tries to come at you at your right position must definitely fall. There's always a way of escape for it if you know how to position yourself. It's not every time, oh, warfare prayer. You have not prayed warfare prayer as much as I've prayed warfare prayer. My life was worst when I was praying warfare prayer. Worst, the worst existent ever. 6 years of pastoring, prayer of Amma, prayer of Mordecai, prayer of my life. It was depression upon bad news upon no progress. And then I saw the gospel and I realized none of the apostles prayed this prayer. Why? Who brought this kind of prayer into our consciousness? Hi, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Nobody has prospered praying warfare prayers. I can guarantee it. No one, except pastors that are collecting people's money and filling their heart with fear and telling them that, oh, become naked, face the east, and you will now sit down and squat. You will now lift up your holy hand. Oh, glory sellers. Oh, glory buyers. Those are nonsense, demonic, occultic minded pastors. Those who know the gospel know that the life we have been brought into is a life of ease. Set your eyes like a flint. Do not be distracted. Even if you are sitting down and you hear somebody talking about you in the next office and the person is lying, as long as your track record can speak for you, that's why I said, if you're a lazy Christian, I understand. And I'll give an example of a lazy Christian once I know very much. So this lady was working as a journalist. She got the good job. They gave her a good package. She wouldn't go out for her reportorials. She's a born-again Christian. She wouldn't package her news. She wouldn't do her own voiceover. Every day, other people would be turning in their reports. The beats they gave her was always lagging behind because she has to go to somebody else. She will call somebody in another TV station. Hey, did you go for this work? Can you please send me the information? They will not send her. She will not quickly come up with a script. She didn't go. She will not quickly take it to the studio. Oh yeah, somebody should voice for me. By those time, I already doing their own work. So when they are done, they will not help her. By the time the work is done anyway, our report was always late, consistently for about 6 months. So eventually, the management wrote her a letter and they said they will sack her, that she's on probation. So when they said she has gotten to probation level, she now realized, hey, I'm in trouble. She now went to meet one of our bosses. Sir, please, I'm on probation. Help me. I don't want to lose my job. That one I said, why are you not voicing your report? Why are you not the one going for assignment? There is a car, you have your beats. Other people are doing their work. Why are you not pulling your weight? She now said, well, I will try, sir, but can you put me through? You know? Like, this is a graduate. Can you put me through? What do you think the boss now started trying to do? If the boss saw an opportunity that, this is a fine girl, She just silly. Let me be sleeping with her, and if I sleep with her, I'll be helping her. You know, that was how she got into sleeping with this boss, just to keep up. The guy was going on his own. She was the one that used her incompetence to open the door to this kind of thing. When I heard the case, and she was not telling me that the man's wife was calling her, the man's wife wanted to kill her. She just went and troubled somebody. Why? Because she's not diligent. She has no standing, no locus. So even if God wants to fight for her, on what ground? And there are many Christians like that, born again in the choir, or somewhere, and yet they will not pull their weight. Pull your weight. When you have no cause, you will set your eyes like a flint and be fearless. No man can erase a record of good that you have done. Everything that you gain for yourself. The knowledge you have for yourself. If they tell you sit down now, there's going to be a promotion test, and all of you right, if you are competent, you will pass. You will pass without sleeping with anybody. But the moment you are beginning to become lazy, not to follow through, then you open the door to all sorts. And then you now turn yourself to a prayer warrior. Instead of becoming diligent in your work and growing in it, you now begin to pray all the time, as if it is the prayer that will do the work for you. No. If the prayer does not do the work, prayer will not come and do your assignment or do your work. You do your work. Nobody gets a degree in prayer mongering. It is good to pray. But when we pray and our prayer is transactional, need-driven, we are basically putting the cart before the horse. I wish that all men will lift up holy hands. Apostle Paul wrote that. Doing what? He said, worshiping the Lord, praying, not asking, just loving the Lord the way he is loved in heaven. These things that I am teaching you, they make Christianity sound so simple. They have produced results that are beyond many people's imagination around me. Yesterday, as I begin to round off, there was a lady that had cancer. She had had it for some time. So she began to write to me. She would write to me, yeah, there I'm dying. I'm this is it. I'm this, that. Okay. One day I met her, I joined down with her, prayed with her. Then I noticed that her story was still the same all the time. She would say, I'm dying. I said, I've prayed with you. After I prayed with her, she said, I got better. Then the thing came back. Oh, it's back. It's back. So one day I changed it for her. I said, you're just a lazy bum. Oh, shut up. Am I the one that gave you the cancer? I told you to keep your eyes on Jesus. You are calling me all the time. Do I look like Elepa Jebu Baba? You better stop it. And so she was like, she expected me to be quite gentle, but I knew what I was doing. I didn't want to be gentle with her because that pattern that she was taking, she would die. And I don't want her to die. I know that if she would take her eyes away from that distraction, and the cancer is a distraction, if she would ignore the pain for 2-3 days, focus on God, I know the cancer will die. I'm very sure of it. She joined PSSBC at school 12. They were in PSSBC. We were praying every night. I noticed that her complaint began to reduce. Suddenly by herself, she came to me and she said, do you know I'm no longer disturbing you? I've come up a lot too. Now I sleep very well. In fact, sometimes I don't even feel the pain. She did not say she's totally healed yet. But you see, the moment she took her eyes away from it and focused it in the right direction, then the power of that sickness began to wane in her life. This is spiritual and not work. I've seen that if a man will set his eyes like a flint, he can never be ashamed. Go and read it in the book of Isaiah 57. He said, I've set my eyes like a flint. Therefore, I can never be put to shame. Many of us, our eyes are everywhere. Hey, this one, I'm sick. My head, my shoulder, my knee. This one is talking about me. This one hates me. Somebody wants to thank my husband. No, so this one is talking bad about me. You are like Owiwi. Old, I've been an owl. Your head is turning 360 degrees every time. 360 degrees. Your eyes are not focused. Be like the eagle. When the eagle perches, when it sees a target and it takes flight, until he catches his prey. He would not switch direction. His eyes will be set on the goal, and nothing shall by any means stop him. Be like that. Don't be like who said it's just turn 360 degrees. Everything, every distraction, every complaint, you are not focused. Focus your eyes, forget the distraction. If they say they are plotting, let them plot. That is their own duty. Your own is that you will rise and you will continue to do glorious things. As you go to your churches today, you are a blessing. Those who come across you will be a blessing. Those who touch will be a blessing. Everything you do shall emanate and show the glory of God. You are a blessed nation, a royal priesthood. What God has called you is who you are. You are not a failure. You can never be dead, because the power at work in you is a quickened and a life-giving spirit. Glory be to God for such a glorious service we've had. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. All right, you are blessed by this. Glory.
Glory.
I see you guys next week. God bless you.